This is a book review of Conan Chronicles, Horrors Beneath the Stones by Thomas Wood, Hawthorne, Panosian, Clunian, and Harron. My apologies for saying their names completely wrong. Now, this book came out in 2020 and it's from Marvel Comics, based obviously on the Dark Horse Conan comics. They're now reprinting those because they've got the license again. And 456 pages, predominantly in colour. There's a little bit of extras at the back. I'll mention those later. I love this bit back. Legendary scribe Roy Thomas returns to Cimmeria, which is a bit odd since there's only one or two bits where there's any part of the story in Cimmeria. But this is volume 5. I got the other 4 volumes. Love those. But this one, I think, is actually so far my favourite. Now, other people might turn and say, oh, didn't like that one, that period at all. However, I did enjoy it. Actually, I've been reading the Queen of the Black Coast, but from Ablaze, and their version is different from this version. I actually like this version more because it's a bit more spread out. It's not like really compressed in the story, so it's a real good yarn. And there's, like I say, some extras at the back, which I will get to. Right, let's go to the start. And you've got Olivia. That's the initial part of the story. You've got the father. Now, the father, well, not going to say anything. Obviously, he's the king or whatever, obviously must be. And since she's a princess, but you got comes to her in her dreams. So they have to go back. And of course, Conan, being the obliging fellow he is, goes off and there's lots of adventures in the process. Lots of people getting arms, legs, everything basically being chopped off. Lots and lots of stories where they're fighting for their lives, meeting up with some various dubious characters, and lots of crooks. There's some great scenes all the way through this. Just think it's absolutely superb. Of course, as always with Conan, there's always a massive treasure. He's a bit of a thief and you can't resist it. Of course, there's always a rogue with him. So you virtually guarantee with a pit of gold in Conan that there's going to be trouble. And you've got this massive creature. Would I think, you know what, it'd be worth it just to go down there? Don't think so. But that's the way. However, that leads on to a great part of the story. I thoroughly enjoyed the Road of Kings and some actually real good characters on the way as well, I must admit. Thoroughly enjoyable. So let's pick another page that's without any try. I love this. There's one bit of scene where Conan's been captured. He's always captured. And he's obviously got the usual rogues that are sort of torturing, beating him and all that sort of stuff. And you know that what's going to happen to him. We're really going to enjoy this bit of torture. I'm thinking, I don't think so. Somehow, we know it's not going to be long before you meet a fate. However, and there's some more. Now, Conan in this does change quite a bit. There's a lot of obviously different inkers and artists involved in this. So Conan has a slight change of appearance all the while. There's always trouble with it. I mean, there's a general look of Conan, of course, you know that that's Conan. But quite often, there's no, compared with the Barry Windsor Smith Conan. So you've got colouring is just superb. I really love the colouring in this book. Absolutely. The covers are amazing as well. You've got all the covers. So you've got obviously the brilliant comic, and then you've got the covers. I think they're just absolutely superb. Now, I assume that, of course, there were loads of variant covers as well. Doesn't seem to, well, there's a few variants at the back. So there are a few variants and some really nice looking variants. That one looks good. Conan the Barbarian issue 1 with the Queen of the Black Coast. Just superb. Beautiful, beautiful bit of artwork there. I love this bit. I love the kid as well. This is just absolutely, I think it's something. Conan's actually got quite a sense of humour in this. There is quite a bit of some character, which I think sometimes I always felt earlier on in the early Conan stories, you never really had. I mean, there was, of course, but here you actually see a lot more sort of him. And it's quite good. He's a real, he will help people. Maybe not always, particularly in the way you think in the end, of course, but it's still just some beautiful colouring as well. I love this. There's a lovely, this one is particularly great. And again, I don't want to particularly pick a page that's going to spoil anything, but there's some That's absolutely superb. Real beautiful panels there. Just love that. So continue on with the story. The story is just great. Of course, it does change halfway through because, of course, it goes into another new comic. So, yeah, that was a great story, the first part of the story. And then we're on to obviously the Queen of the Black Coast storyline. And that's just superb as well. Now, actually, Belit, or Belit, I don't hear you ever say Belit. How you saying it? I mean, just beautiful, absolutely. Just the way, near enough, very like a vampire. Obviously, in the white skin. There's a certain look about it with the green eyes. Very, very, what's the name? Brilliant, lovely covers as well. Just glorious. And the thing is, they don't put the covers with obviously the blurbs and stuff all over it, the banner and all that sort of stuff. So you've got some great stories. And this is a great one. Like I say, Conan does change again because it's different artists. Might be the same artist, but different inking style or whatever. I don't think it's the same artist. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. Just a real beautiful, beautiful story. Loved every bit of this. And there's most time, it's some great panels. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Standard sort of 6 panels, not in a standard style that you get. But you've got, Conan looks really quite odd at times. It's got this really face, sort of his mouth. It's it's a very odd looking Conan at times in this. But Belit, she's absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. And no wonder she's obviously the Queen of the Black Coast. But this is beautiful as well. The city, I love these sort of scenes where you've got a scene there with the city. Just stunning. Can't beat those. Though I always think the thing is, it's always slightly what's you think, well, that looks a bit more like it would have probably been in Roman or / Byzantine or whatever. So I wonder if the architecture would have been that 10,000, whatever it was, many, many millennium ago. Obviously, if it really existed, that is, of course. However, but there's some beautiful pages here. I just think the art is just, and some of the covers, like I say, are just Conan Barbarian 6, just beautiful cover there. And of course, there's lots of violence. A lot of violence. In the last, well, actually, we went through the book, but there is some serious head-lopping, real dramatic, high-powered, sort of, near enough like manga. So there's definitely a manga style. You've even got the effects lines and things, but you've got some scenes where you got really woof. Now you really get that impact. He's got blood spattered all over him. There's no what's the name on this. This is not a tame version of Conan. This is a Conan that clearly is not to be messed with. There is an intensity, and it's staggering. Oh, I think it's brilliant. Absolutely crackingly brilliant Conan Chronicles. And then at the back, you've got some various extras as well, which I thoroughly enjoy as well. So, and then you've got some text at the back. This afterword by Roy Thomas, which is always good. Also, an introduction is always good, but there is no introduction. However, you've got the afterword, and that's great. Promotional article as well by Brian Wood, and also interview by Patrick Thorpe at the back as well. And then you've got an advert for the next book, The Song of Belit, or Belit, whatever you say it. Up to you. Conan Chronicles, that's obviously going to be volume 6. Can't wait for that as well. Certain that's going to be spectacularly good. So, Conan Chronicles, volume 5, absolute masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. Loved it.